Hey, hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of the show. I'm your host, and friends, buckle up. We've got a real treat for you today. We're talking to president who just opened up a very large workforce center that's about to triple the training. Triple. Okay. the training capacity in his local community. It's built inside, and this is really interesting, a donated car dealership building from a guy who started delivering newspapers at the age of 12. So there's your hook, folks. You're going to want to lean in. Please welcome John Rainone, president of Mountain Gateway Community College. Thanks for joining us on the show today, John.
Joe, thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
So good to have you as well. You are one of the sharpest people I've had the opportunity to meet in the space of leading systems and people. And you just celebrated this grand opening in June, so not too distant of a
Right,
memory.
right.
The building's permitted. You're ready to rock and roll. Joe Wilson Workforce Center. Tell us a little bit about the center and the impact to your local community.
Sure. So this is a project that started 5 years ago. I was sitting at home in the middle of COVID when when this opportunity happened, and one of our rural communities. The college is in the middle of a very rural area. We serve 1,800 square miles of service region and fewer than 70,000 people. And we have one main campus, and then we have a center in this rural community. But we had no heavy trades. We had no trade programs. We offered practical nursing, we offered massage therapy, we offered our general education courses, but we really never had the space, and it was a lease space from the city. Anyway, we there was a developer in the community that bought up all these old buildings with the idea of somebody would buy them from them to really be able to develop some of these things. Well, I was able to be introduced to this person named Joe Wilson, who doesn't live in the area, but he lives about 2.5 hours away. But he's from this area, and he's given back into this community. Yes, he started delivering papers at 12 years old. He he became a very successful business person and owner of a pest control company. And
Okay.
then he ended up selling it, so he was very successful as an entrepreneur. And once I presented him with this idea about turning around a 130-year-old old Ford dealership. It first started as a horse livery.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
So there's a lot of jokes around horses, right?
That was
Uh,
before the railroads came through because
that
you're
was
in
me. That's
railroad,
right. That's
definitely
right.
railroad
That's
country
when,
there.
yeah, that's exactly right. And then it got renovated. So the original part of the building stayed, but then it got renovated into the first car dealership. And then that car dealership sold and became another car dealership. So this 18,000 square foot facility really became this opportunity for really imagine. And you walk in, and I swear, Joe, it was like one of those movies where, um, one of those alien movies where the community and the town is there on a Friday, and on Monday, everybody walks in and there's nothing. People look like that they have just left. So they have left. The refrigerator was full of ketchup and mustard bottles and everything else that we did not attempt to do any science projects with or anything.
Okay, okay.
Um, if you ever had your car service there, we probably had your car. We threw away your service record. If you ever worked there, we had personnel records there, which was interesting. Okay.
Interest
We also found a whole box of blank checks that we, of course, would have loved to try to cash, but we did
The
not.
bank
Uh,
the bank is no longer,
no,
there.
that's
It's
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
right.
So,
Talk to us a
so
little bit about the programming. What's gonna be happening there? So,
yeah,
workforce, you've probably got some welding, my guess
fast
is
forward,
welding?
we were able to basically replicate a lot of our programs that are on our main campus. Welding is already going to be we have already doubled welding, and we haven't opened the. We have not even started the program yet
And that
because
probably doesn't even touch the demand that is
that's
out there.
exactly right. We
Yeah.
we have one high school who's sending 30 students, half in the morning, half in the afternoon, to get trained in welding. We will have machining. We will have diesel mechanic. We will have building trades, all of the building trades, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, all of those types of things. We will have now a space for our CDL, our commercial driving license program. We will
Tell us about the
also
Tech
have,
Academy. What's going on with that Tech Academy that I read about?
yeah, so MG Tech Academy is a 5-year grant that we got from the state. It was an initiative of our governor who really wanted, they call laboratory schools. So laboratory school, and we are focusing on a IT, cloud computing, AI, and cybersecurity, and it's geared for sophomores in high school. And
Interesting.
we serve 5 high schools, and it's basically 24 students a year or for 3 years, and they have the ability to earn up to 7 industry recognized credentials like A plus certification and those types of things through this program. And our goal in a rural area is not to send people away. We want them to work for these jobs that maybe are not physically here, but they're in Silicon Valley, they're in Northern Virginia. Um, and we want them to live and work from live here and work remotely,
Why not?
for these companies, and that's ultimately what that goal of that particular program is.
It sounds if you just look at the rationality of that, I've often thought about even some of the areas in northern Minnesota where I'm at. These are desolate iron mining towns that have dried up, and to
Yes.
recreate them to be
Yeah.
really these tech focused places because the quality of life is like none other.
Right.
It's like going on vacation.
Right.
These places,
Well, this area used to be a very heavy train oriented. So CSX would have a lot of I mean the town where the college is only 6,000 people, but in the 20s and 30s it was so large. It was one of the major stops. It had it had 3 movie theaters. It had
amazing.
hotels, it had restaurants and everything else. And so our role as the community's college is to really try to help resurrect and our largest, certainly
Right.
our largest community with fewer than 70,000 people. We got to try to, we are an economic development engine. So when companies are looking to move in this area, we're at the table talking about workforce and and how we can help attract potential employees, but also train them up to the skill level that the company
Love your vision.
requires.
I love the acumen of just strategic planning where you had this dream that turned into a concept that turned into a vision that turned into a building and now programs and just that impact. I'm not going to say that everybody can pull that off, but I think what strikes me, what absolutely just fascinating is the fact that you're actually the first president of Mountain Gateway College.
Yes,
You're the
because
4th
yes,
president of this institution, but you're the
exactly.
1st president. That, my guess, might have been even a heavier undertaking to take a look at just the
Yeah,
symbolic nature of a campus name. Talk to us a little bit about that,
yeah,
the migration.
yeah, quickly, in 2021, our state board uh, asked all 23 colleges in our system to review the names of the colleges as well as buildings for appropriateness. This did come out of the murder of George Floyd and other types of things, unrest that was happening, and we wanted to be respectful. And again, we are inclusive for everyone, and we want our community, we want our colleges to be a place that everyone is welcome. And so when we started to review the names of the colleges, our former name, which was Dabney Lancaster Community College, which I was hired at as, um, it was determined that really naming colleges after individuals at this stage, at this time, was very unlikely. Okay, I'm not sure any new college that might have been built would be named after somebody. Anyway, it took a good 18 months to go through a process, and I had a committee. We actually had at one point 436 recommendations on what we should be called, and
Okay.
we are narrowing them down and narrowing them down, and we got them down to the final three. And we had over 700 people respond to a survey. Some people, frankly, were not happy that we were changing names, but it was 3 years on July 1st that we have been Mountain Gateway Community College. Um, I got a lot of compliments too, and really the decision was not mine to change the name. It came from our state board. Our local board had to also agree on the process of the name change. I always describe it, it's another chapter in my book that I'll write someday about, it'll be a larger chapter than some of the others, but it's something that, we have, uh, uh, one of my previous colleges changed its name, but it went from a technical college to a community college. So we just had to, and there's the same amount of letters in technical as there are in community, so we didn't have to change much. Okay,
Easy peasy.
uh,
Easy peasy.
yeah,
Yes.
this was literally changing everything. So
Yeah, congrats. Not everybody can pull that off. It takes somebody that is relational to just deal with some of the angst because
yeah,
I've had not the great fortune, but the unfortune of closing high school buildings as a superintendent. And it's not necessarily about the building, it's about the legacy of mascots
exactly,
and school
exactly,
colors and all of those things. So
exactly.
it takes
And we did keep the
special care and
mascot.
attention.
We did keep the mascot. We're the Roadrunners. We did for the most part kept a lot of our colors. We did add a gold into our color scheme and everything. And really, Mountain and Gateway. If anybody visited our area, you could stand anywhere in our service region, and there are mountains. Okay, so that was an easy one. And Gateway is a term for, our role as community colleges is to move individuals into the middle class.
Yes.
It's the gateway to a 4-year institution. It's a gateway to your future. So, that was really, when that name started resonating to the top. I think, and once you explained it to individuals, I think they got it. I think they understood. And I don't have I may have one or two people who might comment about the name during the year now, but that was certainly, I think, when people really understood the reason and the purpose behind it, it made it more acceptable. They probably never loved it, but it definitely made it much more acceptable.
Let's double click on just that descriptive term gateway. You serve as the chair of the Rural Community College Alliance Board. And when I think about rural education, it's that compare and contrast. So I'd like to know, in terms of just gateway, as you think about rural community colleges, what do they need to understand? What do you need to understand that larger institutions might be kind of missing right now? What are the opportunities that rural affords us that some of the larger systems just are missing these days?
Yeah. Well, it definitely comes down to resources, certainly resources. It comes down to volumes. And I mean, I'm considered rural, but some of my colleagues on the rural board, and I served with the AACC and the, one of their commissions on rural community colleges. Some of them have to drive 90 minutes to get to a Walmart. Okay, that's rural. I
Yeah.
mean, that is certainly rural, okay? So our colleges really have to be unique. We in many cases, so those rural colleges are much more the center of the communities in rural communities. than maybe a larger a community college in a larger city, okay, where there may be one of many. Okay, so we are definitely a big fish in a small pond, and we have to take that seriously. And truly, our middle name, and I always say our middle name is community. Okay, and we really need to take that very seriously, because we may be one day a resource for a student to come to get retrained as a CDL driver. Okay, but the next day we are the host for economic development discussions.
Sure.
In 2 weeks, we're hosting a regional housing summit, workforce housing summit. Okay. Some of the things that are lacking are always housing, transportation, um, workforce,
Some of the
workforce
infrastructure things.
applicants. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So, so, and being able to tap as those resources. I've always said that, you know, we, we don't have to be the leader on things all the time, but we got to be part of the team. And the old line of if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, is really important, because I just want to be at the table, because I know eventually it's going to talk to about workforce. It's going to talk about retraining skills. It's going to be, they're going to be looking for a space to host a meeting when somebody else might charge them. And this is part of our DNA, is to really be that gathering place for the community.
Yeah, and stewardship. You claim it. You're a regional
Right.
hub for
Right.
all things good and productive.
Right.
So, and you're about what, maybe 5 weeks from fall semester.
Yeah.
This incredible
Yeah.
new facility. You've got a lot of reasons to be shooting fireworks while you grab that mic and say, "Welcome back, folks."
Yeah.
Give us a snapshot of some of the things that you're really, really excited about come this academic year.
Yeah. I'm really excited about launching the MG Tech program, the lab school, because there will be 24 additional high school students. We do a lot with dual enrollment already. We have some new programs. Diesel mechanic will be a new program, and it'll eventually be on both campuses. We're about 40 miles apart. So, transportation is definitely an issue. We will be starting later in the fall, heavy equipment operator, level one. We got simulators. We were able to get a grant. A lot of things that we have to do it needs to be entrepreneurial, because honestly, if you wait around for the state, any state, to help fund, and the example I give is this workforce center, we created an entire real estate foundation because we couldn't go through the regular state process, just because they weren't building buildings. They weren't renovating buildings. So the building is actually owned by a real estate foundation, and it is being leased to the college. Okay. And that was a way, and it still took us basically 3 years of construction, and from the architect stage through construction. If this was a state project, and there's rules and regulations, we'd probably still be at the architect stage five
Oh
years
my
later.
goodness.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that just, I think that's the mindset of a leader that says, "We're not going to wait." I love that.
yeah.
I love the
Yeah.
quote, either you don't wanna be on the menu. I'll butcher
No,
the
that's
quote.
that's
That
right.
was
That's
so
right.
good, so good, and
Yeah.
that's a
And the
mindset
other
that you bring as a leader
yeah.
that definitely impacts your culture. So, it's not just you and your office that have this hunger and this
Yeah.
hustle. I think
There
it's gotta
yeah,
be
there needs to
matriculating into the
be.
entire community.
And again, my last institution, when I was in Maine, I worked there for 18 years, and I helped start a brand new community college. And the president's mantra, which I have taken from him saying it all the way through my role here, is find a way or make one. Okay. So
Yeah.
being able to really be, and that was, whether you're an entrepreneurial president, or you can call it whatever you want. um you need to be able to, and because I spent I spent many years fundraising. When you work with a donor, no doesn't mean no, it means not now. So, find a way, being able to continue to find different ways and different strategies that might be attractive, to and that was the case with Joe Wilson, was to be able to he really bought in because he was so committed to the community. He was so committed to workforce, and he saw it. We brought together, just to reassure him, we brought together 30 business leaders and economic development, and he was convinced about 7 minutes into the meeting that we needed to do this project. So,
Fantastic.
so we were really excited, and that's an exciting project that I think will definitely launch. And as you said, it was, short term, we're hoping to triple enrollment. And we're looking at even eventually serving 500 students in a very small area. When we serve maybe 1,500 total right now. So yeah, it could really grow even a third of the institution.
Well, this is the season of hope. It tends to kind of change colors a little bit as we get into February, but kick off and the beginning of New
That's
Year,
right. That's
all
right.
of that thing. But I work with the leaders on a weekly basis that are starting to, I'll be honest, they're starting to kind of lose that hope. We've been sucker punched by a number of things
Yeah.
over the last
Yeah.
24 months, and leaders are just getting tired, and they're having a hard time and struggle to hold the language of hope today. What I see in Mountain Gateway represents hope and opportunity. How is that being amplified? We're coming in for a landing to kind of the underrepresented, many adults coming in back into the workforce are having to retrain, feeling like I'm way behind. I'm way behind. How does Mountain Gateway grab a hold of those folks and go, you belong here?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, from the student perspective, it's access, it's being able to really go where they are. I mean, honestly, Joe, I'm in the camp from day to day, from sometimes about, if this happens, from federal grants being cut to maybe state appropriations in certain states. And, you know, I- uh, you do feel like sometimes you bang your head, but
Yeah,
as the
it's real.
leader, you have to be able to sort of step aside, because now you got employees who are the front line for these students, and you really need to be able to really continue to share with them the vision, be able to share with them, these are good things, these this we found a way, or made one
Yeah.
approach, that we can't just, if we sit back, if anybody just sits back and expects the feds or their states or whatever, however, especially public education, um you know it's uh I mean, if I had to do that, I would have given up 6 years ago, that type of thing. So, but there, and as soon as we were done, I'm starting to think about, all right, well, what's the next project that we can do creatively within the state rules, within the, everything that we all live by. But there is multiple ways to build a mousetrap. So that has always been my attempt, is to try to be creative, try to be innovative, try to be entrepreneurial, whatever word you want to use. But there are different ways to build to build a mousetrap. So
And the world is asking for a different one because much of our system is broken. And I so appreciate, John, you've accomplished what you've accomplished at Mount Gateway. It proves that rural education doesn't mean limited, right? It doesn't mean limited.
absolutely.
It means innovation. It means better connectivity. It means deeply rooted in your community. You've created more than just educational programs. You've built investment in people. And I'm just so excited about what is in store for your community. We're coming in for a landing, but any final thoughts for our listeners before we go?
No, our community colleges, and there are thousands of other great stories that are happening on the almost 1,100 community colleges, in the country. And I'm fortunate to know a number of presidents, know about a number of colleges. And, I always believe in the case method, copy and steal everything. So, there are certainly things that I try to read everything from, I get AACC daily about creative things that a college might be doing. And I sort of put that in the back of my mind and say, and it might be a larger school, but can we scale it down? Can it work here? And some answers is no, it just can't work here. But in other opportunities, it's just really in this potentially difficult time, I try to really I've always been a half glass full person, and I think we need to really be able to lean on that more and more, especially in this, potentially ever changing time that
Yes.
we're in right now.
We're going to put that clip on replay and replay and replay because I think our people need to hear that. This has been the show reminding you that sometimes the most powerful transformations happen not in the big cities, right? But in the mountains and the valleys where community leaders like Dr. John are quietly changing the world. And perhaps we can scale many of the things that you learned here today. Until next time, this is Dr. Joe building bridges and opening gateways, friends. Peace and press on. Thank you again, John.